their tax payments out. For some reason, my people always do, the people always do an extension for me. And I said, does that mean I'm paying more or less? They said, it doesn't matter.
This is our concern, dude.
So anyway, I don't know if you had to send yours in, but I feel for you. If you, like me, run your own business, it usually hurts really bad around this time of year. You can see months and months worth of earnings written out in a check to the IRS. So I still am not happy with this other shot. So we'll stick with the main one today. For those who are tuning in on video or live with us, we appreciate that. You can go to 5by5.tv/live or Dan Benjamin. In fact, I recommend danbenjamin.com/live as the place to go, because then you'll get video automatically. I'm going to work on something in the 5by5 CMS that will automatically know if a show has video, and if it's broadcast with video, it will direct you to the 5by5.tv/video page instead of the regular live. So we'll figure that out. Should I play the whole clip?
Yes.
All right, I'll play. That's Hattie Cook.
Hi.
Okay, and that's the end of Inside Baseball. Okay. I do like that clip. Some big news actually came in right at the last minute. Just in time for today's show. Oh, and by the way, I would like to congratulate my friend and yours, Mr. Tom Merritt, who won some kind of award at the podcast award ceremony thing. So congratulations to him for. Did you know about that?
I did know about that, and that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Play the clapping.
Oh yeah, I should play the clapping for him, because he's great, and his show, the Daily Tech News Show, is a fantastic show. So if I can find, there's some. Congratulations to Mr. Tom Merritt and his support staff for winning that. We were not nominated for anything. And none of our shows were nominated for anything. But so I wasn't even aware that it was going on. I mean, people have nominated our shows in the past, and I'm always like, what is this thing? How can we have podcast awards? How can you do that when every podcast is amazing? So here's a great article. This is a great article over on Business Insider. A great article on Business Insider. What? Yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at the squashed. I always get the squashed image. I want Wirecast to fix that. Get Wirecast on the phone. So file that bug. Apple retail chief Angela Ahrendts on Thursday sent a memo to Apple employees that explained the shipping delays for the Apple Watch, and she hinted that the company would return to iPhone-style launches with lines outside its stores. In other words, would you say, listeners, would you say that the Apple launch was a failure? No, it's not a failure. But 9to5Mac is also reporting on this, saying that the Apple Watch is unlikely to be available for in-store purchases before June. They should expect the usual blockbuster launches in retail stores for future products. In a memo to retail store staff, she thanked the staff for making the try-ons unforgettable, told them customer feedback had been overwhelmingly positive, and that the online ordering only period was likely to continue through May, and which is a nice way of saying we're not going to have anything in the stores until after May. Here's our quote. Many of you have been getting questions asking if we'll have the watch available in stores on April 24th for walk-in purchases. As we announced last week, due to high global interest combined with our initial supply, we're only taking orders online right now. I'll have more updates as we get closer to in-store availability, but we expect this to continue through the month of May. She said that the approach of in-store previews with online orders had been taken because the watch was not just a new product, but an entirely new category for the company. I am trying to get on board with this. I just don't think so. Something is fishy about all of this to me. As somebody who's been listening and watching and paying attention to Apple for a very long time and watching all of their product announcements, and watching all of their product launches in stores, online ordering. Something doesn't sit right with me. This does not feel like things went the way they wanted it to go. And I'm not saying, oh, they're covering it up. I'm not saying it's a cover-up. What I am saying, though, is that this is there. It just doesn't feel right, right? Here's how an Apple launch should go for a product. Here's how it should go. Charismatic person up on stage says, we're going to show you something amazing. Look, check this out. Look how awesome this thing is. Don't you want this? This thing is going to be available for you on this date. And if you want to pre-order it, you can pre-order it on this date 2-3 weeks ahead of time. That's the way that an Apple launch has always pretty much gone. I'm sure that people will write into me and say that there are exceptions to this. I mean, yes, there have been. But that's the way that they like it to go. What they really like, though, and if you remember back at the time when there was when the iPhone came to Verizon, and they very much wanted lines at the stores. Apple wants lines at the stores. They want people lining up to order something. And they want people to get excited about it. And they want people to make a big buzz about it. And they want the people who get it shipped to their house first to do tons of unboxing videos. I want that. If I'm a company that makes a product, I want that. I want people to care a whole lot about the thing that I'm producing. Absolutely. I think you have to do it. But this is so weird. Now if you go to the Apple store, all you get is a try-on? You can't buy it? Wait, this is called the Apple Store. Shouldn't I be able to buy something at the Apple Store, the newest, greatest device? I can't even buy it at the Apple Store. And they're trying to spin it like, if someone wants to buy it, just guide them to the try-on area so they can really experience the device for themselves, and you can teach them about it. And all these people, podcasters, news reporters who didn't get one, everyone going and saying, here's my 5,000 words on the try-on experience. This is the try-on experience, Hattie title. Try-on experience.
Try-on experience.
Thank you. You know, I had an appointment for a try-on experience. I didn't go. I canceled it. I didn't go. Because I'm starting to think that, you know what, if products are sold out, that's one thing. And this sold out, but you've got to have them in your stores. You not just to go and look at, but to walk up and buy. Let me give you a little analogy. I'm getting into grit territory here. The other show that I do. Nothing bothers me more. And I'll tell you a situation. I had my kid with me. And I needed to go to the Gap to buy a pair of jeans. Because, by the way, Hattie, tell me if I'm wrong here, but Gap has the best jeans.
Yep,
They have
totally
the
agree.
best jeans.
Totally
better
agree.
than Banana Republic. I'm sorry,
I
better
don't
than
think I've
J.
ever
Crew,
bought
better than
jeans
Levi's.
At Banana Republic.
Well, don't.
Yeah, I won't.
Better at Gap.
Yep.
Anyway.
Everything's stretchy.
They have the best jeans. Anyway, so I was in there. I was going to say, you know what? I need one pair of jeans real quick. Real quick. I had my kid with me. I knew, as a man, you know what? I hate shopping. I've talked about that with the sponsors I've had recently. I want to go in there. I want to say, okay, I'm at $29.30. Grab the jeans, walk up to the register, pay, done. I don't need to try it on. I don't need help. I don't need anything. Just let me give you my money, right? Get the jeans and go. Get out of there. That's all. That's all I need to do. So I did that. And then there's a lady up at the front, and the phone rings. Now, I did a lot of customer service back in the day. I worked in a toy store. I worked at lots of stores where I ran a register with a lot of unruly people in line. And the one thing that I learned is, and this is something that works in sales and it works no matter what you do, in IT support, in software support, the most important person in the whole world is the person that's standing in front of you. And if you think about it, why do companies exist? I'm way too in grit territory right now. Companies exist to sell you things. They exist to sell you things, right? That's why Apple exists. They want to sell you stuff. They don't exist because they want to make the world a better place. They do, but that's number two. Number one is sell you stuff. So I walked up to the register with the jeans in hand, credit card out, driver's license out. I'm ready, man. And the girl picks up the phone, and she says, "Well, this is a Gap." I probably shouldn't say it's a Gap in case they want to sponsor, but it was the Gap. And she says, "Hello, how may I help you?" "Oh, we probably do have some of those in stock. I think what color were you looking for? Okay, hold on a second." She sets the phone down and walks away. Now, she has yet to acknowledge that I was there. She has yet to say, "Hold on, I'll be right with you." What has she done? I am standing in front of her with money, ready to make a purchase. And instead of paying attention to me, and by the way, I wasn't the only person in line, 3 people behind me. Instead of paying attention to us, she is taking a phone call to tell somebody who's not even there in the store,
Who may not purchase
anything, whether or not she has something in stock, and she's going to go check. Instead of taking the money from me and 3 other people behind me. It makes no sense. What you want to do is you want to cater, if you're Apple, you want to cater to people who are in the stores, who are going to be in the stores. I would much rather have seen Apple deny people purchases online than cater to those people. I would much rather have them said, "We want to make sure that we have inventory in the stores. So we're not going to let people, you're going to have to come and wait in line." Oh, people would be angry about that. But to not have product in your stores, and yeah, people want to go and see and touch and feel, but a lot of those people are going to want to buy right away. How could Apple forget that? How could Apple forget that people want to come in and they get so excited about something that they want to buy it right now? And you know what Apple employees are supposed to do? They're supposed to suggest that you go and let's go over here right now and order one online together as friends. That is BS. That's not how it works. People want to buy right now. That's why car lots work like car lots. You go to a car lot and, well, what's it going to take for me to get you in a car today? Well, what's it going to say? Let's draw the little tic-tac-toe bar and I'll watch which number you look at most because we're going to get you in something today. See you drive out of here. Something new. Well, that's what Apple needs to be doing. And there's no way for them to do it. Well, then steer the customer over. No. This is crazy. A product in your store. I'll tell you why. Because their philosophy was flawed. Retail chief Angela Arns, she is obviously a genius, right? She's made a huge name for herself with really, really successful retail plans. But she's never worked at Apple before. She's never worked in technology before. She's never dealt with geeks before. For customers who, this is from her memo, for customers who want to buy a watch, please continue to help them place their order online. Also make sure they know that wherever they buy, Apple will provide them with a great personal setup experience, either online or in stores. What? No, it's just flawed, man. You got to have these things in the store. And if you can't keep up with demand, I would say have them in the stores first. Then take online orders second. The Apple stores exist for a reason, as a show place, as a showcase place to go. I'm the only one saying this, by the way. But that's all right. Let me do our first sponsor, Linda. You want me to put markers in here, right, Hattie?
Yes, please.
All right. Can't believe we had to disconnect this streamer. This episode is brought to you by lynda.com, the online learning platform with over 3,000 on-demand video courses to help you strengthen your business, technology, and creative skills. For a free 10-day trial, I would like for you to go to Lynda, L-Y-N-D-A, lynda.com/DBH. Going there will support this show. Even just going to that URL will support the show. But I think you should go one extra step and sign up and get your free 10-day trial. What I love about Lynda is how easy it is to go and find an answer to your specific problem. You jump in, you find the answer, you jump out. Yeah, you can spend a lot of time in there watching longer videos if you want, but a lot of the time you just want to figure that one thing out, and they will help you do it. They got topics for everything from design, development, software development, making and recording video and podcasts, audio engineering, you name it. You stream them all on demand. Get access to everything, iOS and Android. So go there and check it out Lynda, lynda.com/DBH. Go check out 3,500 videos, and thanks very much to them for supporting the show. Love those guys. The watch is coming. I'm about to cancel my order. People are getting upset at me, Hattie.
Why?
There's one guy in particular who you know the guy, and he tweeted to me and he said, Dan, it seems like you're moving away from Apple and moving away from Apple coverage and moving away from offering your insight on Apple. And he said something really kind. He said, Dan, I think your insight on Apple is the best insight on Apple out there. And it would be bad. This is him saying it. It would be bad if you were to move away from covering Apple stuff as much as you do. And I said I'm not moving away from it per se, but I wanted to elaborate on that.
Please do.
Apple is interesting, and I like talking about Apple when they're doing interesting things. But I am not of the opinion that everyone's covering Apple so much. I just feel like I want to take a little bit of a step back from that and offer a different perspective on it. So I will still be talking about Apple, but only when it's really interesting to me. And that doesn't mean pointing out when Apple screwed something up. No, it means talking about Apple as a whole on a regular basis when they're doing interesting things, providing both a positive and a negative. Because I'm tired of people who just think Apple is this amazing, perfect company. When they get something right, it's right in a big way. The iPhone 5, 4, all the stuff they've done in the screen space with Retina. The iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, I think, are fantastic products. I think iOS 8, 7, and 8 are pretty lousy. I like the way that they've integrated a lot of really cool features, but I miss the stability of 6. Apple Watch orders will remain exclusively online through May. I expect a lot more from Apple, to be honest. You guys expect that we record a show here and that we record it with great audio and then we turn it around within minutes after we're done recording. And you know what? You should expect that because that's what we've shown you that we can deliver. So you expect that from us. You expect good analysis and insight and a bit of sense of humor because that's what we've shown we can deliver. So I have to deliver that to you. And if I don't, you know what? That's on me. And you should call me out for that. And you do. Oh, I miss the good old days when back to work was, we actually help people, right? Or whatever. Whatever criticism you want to lay down. You know what? I want to hear your criticisms and I want to make it better because I care a lot. And I think Apple wants to make it better. But the fact is that the way this launch went, anyone could have told you this was wrong. Anyone could have told you this was wrong. Anyone who's paid any attention to anything Apple's done ever. Meanwhile, Tim Cook is going to be in Time's list of 100 most influential people. And John Lewis, a civil rights leader and Democratic congressman from Georgia, wrote this segment about Tim, and here's a quote from it. It could not have been easy for Tim Cook to step into the immense shadow cast by the late Apple co-founder Steve Jobs. With grace and courage and an unabashed willingness to be his own man, Tim has pushed Apple to unimaginable profitability and greater social responsibility. He's setting a new standard for what businesses can do in the world. Tim is unwavering in his support of an individual's right to privacy and not only embracing equality and LGBT rights, but advocating for change through his words and actions. His commitment to renewable energy is also leaving our planet a little cleaner and a little greener for generations yet unborn. Bravo. Great piece. And congratulations to Tim. He's doing great work. I don't think anybody in the whole world right now thinks he isn't at least the CEO that Steve Jobs was. He's running a much bigger company. He's running a company that's facing a much bigger challenge, many more competitors than in the Steve Jobs era of Apple, I think. And he's doing a great job of it. Speaking of doing a great job, Hattie, did you ever watch that show, To Catch a Predator?
I think I've seen a couple episodes, yes.
A couple episodes. So for those who don't know, Chris Hanson would inevitably, okay, so the setup
Yes,
is
set it up.
Chris Hansen is one of these TV guys, really cool dude. And he would set this up so that on a Dateline's NBC To Catch a Predator segment, he would set it up where they would have like almost like a sting operation. And they would be trying to catch a sexual predator, usually preying on like teenage girls. And they would have someone like pose in online, and they would set up a fake persona and pose online as a teen girl, and like she'd be in a chat or whatever. And then this predator, you've seen this.
Yep.
This predator would then
interact with her.
Yeah, he'd be interacting and being like, hey, and eventually it would lead to the inevitable like, I've got some whiskey in a car. Or I've got wine coolers
Over at my apartment.
Can I come pick you up?
Yeah.
And then the pretend girl would be like, sure, you can pick me up.
Or she'd be like,
over.
actually come over to my house.
Right.
And then he'd be like, okay. And so he'd show up with like, the
cooler.
wine coolers.
Yeah.
And he'd open the door.
And now there'd be a girl, and the girl would answer. And now usually it was either like the daughter of one of the people in the crew.
Right, like a producer or something
a producer's
like that,
daughter or something, or to be a woman who could pull off. She'd put her hair in pigtails, and she'd like have a T-shirt on, and she'd
be like, hold on,
I'll
be right back.
Right.
Just wait in the kitchen.
Yeah, wait in the kitchen.
They're always waiting in the kitchen, like, and they'd just be like looking around, not doing anything.
Right.
And then
Chris Hansen would walk in,
pop out,
and he'd sit down, or he'd already be at the table sitting there, and he'd be like, why don't you have a seat over there? And
meanwhile, the guy's like, oh, great.
What is it exactly that you're doing here? And then like the walls of the kitchen would
fall
come
away.
down, and then there'd be like the whole camera crew behind there, like everything would come, and like as they try to leave, like the camera people would be there. Now sometimes they would have called the police and had the police like outside waiting, but they would never, the predator people would sit down, and
like
look at this.
Speaking
of creepy. Look at the shot of Hanson. Why don't you have a seat over there next to him? Look at this page.
Oh no,
this is pretty creepy.
Yeah,
he's a great guy though. I love this show. I didn't watch the show a lot, but I love that it existed. And they stopped a lot of bad things, I think, from happening potentially. And anyway, the show, for whatever reason, because I think that people. There were a lot of stings. You can call this a sting.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the article. This is a great article on Ars Technica. Although the show drew criticism over its methods and results, and they say that a significant number of people snared in the show's stings were released without being charged or had their charges dropped, the show became part of the cultural zeitgeist of the late 2000s, watching adults, almost always men, blithely stumble into a house stuffed with cameras and then get noisily arrested for some variation on a solicitation of a minor for sex charge proved addicting to audiences. Chris Hansen memes and GIFs are regularly posted on discussion boards, and that high residual popularity is what Hansen is banking on now. He started a Kickstarter page that just went live. He's thinking about calling the show Hanson versus Predator.
Oh my gosh.
And he wants a minimum of $75,000 to revive the formula as a web series. And they have their goals, what they call stretch goals on Kickstarter, all the way up to $1 million. So let me read you some of those. But you can get anything from a thank you card to a coffee mug to having a Chris Hansen record a voicemail greeting for you. But anyway, he has, right now they're about $14,000, 257 backers, 29 days to go. And they want $75K. I think they'll make it. But they're having fun with this, and I think it'll be great. I'm probably going to back this one because I think this will be a really cool show. But there's a bigger issue here. And the bigger issue is Chris Hansen is a TV guy. He's a guy that could probably do a TV show on his own. He could probably revive this with a film studio, but instead he's doing it on Kickstarter. How cool is that? That big media people realize that there is a better way to do this than to go to a big network. People talk to me all the time about podcasts. They say, I want to join 5x5, or there's a show on 5x5 that says, you know what, we're going to leave and go independent, or we're going to go somewhere else because we can. By no means do you need a podcast network, and by no means does Chris Hansen need a TV network. He can go and do this show, and he can release it on the web himself. Do it yourself, people.
DIY.
Do it yourself. Only go to a TV network or a podcast network or a film studio if you want to. You might want to.
You don't have to.
But you don't have to anymore.
No.
You don't have to.
Nope.
Chris Hansen. Catch a Predator. We got to leave in a minute, don't we?
Yeah. Very soon.
Why did you book? I mean, I love that you booked 3 sponsors for me.
Do you want me to cap it?
I'll tell you what. If I could get the Patreon up to like Tom Merritt levels, we wouldn't have to do sponsors.
Let's
How do we
call
get it up to
TM
Tom
level?
I want to get the show to Patreon to Tom Merritt levels.
I hope everyone's listening.
I hope everyone's listening. Patreon.com. Now, should I send them to the new Patreon for this show? So just to get this show, or should I
Do you
base
have
it
a
on?
new Patreon
I
for
do.
this
I
show?
have never announced the secret URL for it.
I haven't. I didn't even.
No,
know
you don't even
about
know.
it.
Well,
No.
it's secret. I'm thinking about that.
Ask people. Ask people what they think. I think.
Do you listeners? I know how many listeners we have of the show. I know definitively how many listeners we have.
And viewers.
And I know that if each one of you, hold on, let me do some math here. I'm just going to do some quick math. If each one of you gave $5 a month, I would be in a really, really great situation. I would not have to have any sponsors on this show. We'd be able to do anything in the world that we wanted to do. If each of you gave us $5 a month, I'm not asking you to do this. I'm saying if. We wouldn't need any sponsors. We could get a camera crew. We could go out on the street. I mean, we could do so much stuff. If you want to do that, if you wanted me to transition away from reading spots, I'll do it. I'll definitely do it. And if you don't, that's cool too. We'll keep doing sponsors. Maybe we can get closer to a listener-supported thing. Go the Tom Merritt, Adam Curry route. I'll try anything. I just want you guys to like the show, and I want you to listen every day, whenever that takes. Tripcase. Today's episode is brought to you by Tripcase, helping over 30 million people collecting their flight, hotel, and other trip information. You get in one single app, you get flight notifications, you get Pebble Android Wear and soon Apple Watch integration, you get Uber integration, free flight alerts I mentioned. You can share your trip with your friends. It'll remember certain places when you're on the trip. You tap the thing, remember the places, that cool restaurant you want to go back to. Seat maps, so you can pick your seats. And you get an update to your itinerary. You forward it to their email address, and they attach it to you and to your account. It shows right up in the app. It's genius stuff. 40 airlines, 100,000 travel agencies to make traveling easier. It's all built in. Tripcase.com/DBH. That'll be in the show notes. Show notes are at 5x5.tv/DBH/30. And we got to run. I just got a couple quick stories for you left. I asked the guy who wrote this next article, Kevin Toffel.
That's your name, dude.
If he wanted to be on the show either today or tomorrow. No reply from Kevin Toffel.
He's a busy guy.
I guess. The European Union has problems with Android, and he has a nice article here on ZDNet. What you need to know. The European Commission has sent a formal statement of objections to Google based on the company's business practices in the European Union. The main focus is on how Google promotes its own comparison shopping results over that of rivals. Android is in the spotlight too. The EC is launching a separate antitrust probe into Google's operating system, which powers more than 80% of the world's mobile devices. Well, there are different versions of Android. There are really 2 versions of Android. When we say Android, we usually mean the Android open source project. Anyone can freely use or modify this for their devices. So he says, if I wanted to build my own phone and could get Android running on it, I can do that. Indeed, Amazon has done exactly this with its line of Fire phones and tablets, using the open source software as a base platform and then adding its own custom interface apps and services. And then there's Google Android, which Google argues has only accelerated innovation while decreasing costs for all. And that this base, which is freely available Android software, but with added Google services and apps, that's what their hardware partners choose. So they get that. And those add-ons come with the stuff that Google wants to promote, and that's what the European Union is so upset about. So go figure. Jawbone, guess what? $99 up 2 and up 4 are going to have American Express payments built in. So if you really like your Fitbit, you can say, you know what, I'm going to try the Jawbone instead. The $99 up 2, the $50 entry-level up Move, and the $179 up 3, you get all these great little features, the little health features and all that stuff. Tracking how far you move in a day, sleep tracking, other activity tracking. They have a smart alarm clock that wakes you up at the ideal time in your sleep cycle. Battery lasts forever and ever and ever. Now it's got NFC payments for American Express. Everything, you're going to be able to buy things with your wrist from now on forever. A bunch of people have just left Mozilla. No one's using Firefox. You know who uses Firefox? Schools. Kids. Kids in schools.
Mm-hmm.
That's who uses it. Kids in schools. But guess what? More people are leaving Firefox. TechCrunch has learned and confirmed that Lee Gong,
That's your name, dude.
president of Mozilla, and Rick Fant, its VP of Mobile, are parting ways with the organization. They're stepping down and leaving Mozilla to pursue other opportunities, said Chris Beard, Mozilla's CEO. We thank them for all of their contributions and wish them well in their next adventures. When one person leaves, it's kind of bad. When two leave at the same time, and they're like big people,
You kind of look around at everyone else and you're like, should we go too?
yeah. The president of Mozilla and the VP of Mobile have left. What's more important than mobile in 2015? Nothing. And you know who else knows that? Yahoo. They're in talks to buy Foursquare to try and become relevant again, to try and do something that anybody cares about again. Swarm, what a disaster Swarm was.
Oh, I still have that app on my phone.
Worst
I
app
hate
in the
it.
history of apps. 900 million is what they're offering for Foursquare. I don't think it's worth 900 million. I don't know anybody that checks in anymore. You know what Foursquare is good for? I'm going to an event. I'm going to WWDC, and I want to see where my friends are going to eat lunch. That's Foursquare. That's all it is. Koala got out when they should have gotten out. They were smart. No one. Foursquare is now a database that Instagram can use. Instagram can use, whatever location-based database it wants to figure out where you are so that you can geotag your photo. That's what Foursquare is now. It's a database of locations. That's it. Ikea is going to, oh, nice little pop-up ad. Thanks. Ikea just made it crazy easy on Gizmodo. Made it crazy easy to add wireless charging to your furniture. So you get some Ikea furniture, or any furniture really. And you get this little thing. It's called a Dyson wireless charger. It's $30. And it's designed to fit in the cord management hole of the Mick and Stuva desks. But for an extra $5, you can get a special drill bit so that you can cut the perfect slot into any piece of furniture, whether it's theirs or not, that you already own. So basically you have a little charging pad, little charging station, drill a hole, put the little charging station in there, boom, done. It's pretty cool. So if you're watching this, you can see these pretty pictures of adding these charging stations. Pretty cool. I don't mind drilling holes into IKEA furniture. Why? Why would I mind that? And we were talking about this a week or so ago, Hattie. Remember when I was sitting there and I cracked my knuckles at the perfect exact time? I said, let me show you something.
You went,
Crack my knuckles. It worked perfectly. Well, they have actually put people under MRIs before and after they've cracked their knuckles to see what it looks like.
what happened?
Well, the article here on CNET says, what is it that makes that popping sound when you crack your knuckles? If you think it's vacuum cavities forming in the synovial fluid of the joint, which is what I knew you thought, give yourself a gold star. A team of researchers led by the University of Alberta Faculty of Rehabilitative Medicine have confirmed that this is precisely what is happening. We call it the pull my finger study, and actually pulled on someone's finger and filmed what happens in the MRI. And it was the bubbles in the joint, and in fact, it is bubbles in the joint. So that's what it is.
Why does it feel good though? Like, why does it make your hand feel better when you do?
I don't know.
knuckles?
One
Or
thing they
hurt.
found was a flash of white in the MRI just before the joint popped, something that no one had ever documented before. They believed it was water suddenly being drawn into the joint.
That's
So
crazy.
that's what that is. And the very last thing, and I want to start a Kickstarter project. So if you are a little bit of an engineer or a geek who likes to tinker with things, get in touch, because I this article gave me an idea to start a project. I'll leave this article for you to read, but on Ars Technica, a New York Times columnist has fallen prey to a signal repeater car burglary. Nick Bilton let the world know that 2 kids broke into his car before his very eyes. What made the break-in a little more remarkable is the fact that, according to Bilton, the perps used an electronic device to simply unlock his Toyota Prius rather than doing things the old-fashioned way with a slim gym coat hanger or brick. And basically, they used a little like repeater extender thing that catches when you unlock your car. And he says, someone wrote in and said, I'm confused. How is it amplifying the signal if the fob is just sitting in the house? Doesn't someone have to push a button on the fob for it to actually send a signal to begin with? And he says, you're thinking of a standard fob, not the range-detecting keyless entry start many cars have these days. You can just walk up to your car and it unlocks it. By using a device to repeat the signal, it can see the key earlier than it normally would, and the doors unlock when you're near it. So it's not just the regular unlock my car. It's the kind like these more modern cars have that are proximity sensors, so that they're always sending out a signal that says, I'm right next to you, car. Unlock yourself. That's what they're essentially seeing. Well, in fact, if you put a range extender on that, the car, which might be very far away, is now thinking you're right next to it, unlocking, and letting you start and drive away. And that's how these things are happening. And the guy says at the end of this in Ars Technica, he says, how long before we see a Kickstarter for a Faraday cage key box? If you don't know what a Faraday cage is, you should look that up. But if you want to help me kickstart this project and do a little Faraday cage you can put right there on your desk and put your keys into it, I'm all for it. At Dan Benjamin on Twitter. That's all we have time for, including the third spot, Wealthfront. We don't have time for the third spot today. Sorry. Wealthfront.com/5x5. Go there and check that out. Thanks very much to them. Maybe I'll do them 3, 4, 5 times in the next episode. But that's all we have for you today. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow at 11 Eastern and 10 Central. Have a good one. Turning off the video. Goodbye, video people. I love the video people.